Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Alyn, along with the insane Daryl Wayne. And we're going to go to, I think, Montclair, New Jersey today to speak with our next guest. His name is Fredrick Hahn, Fred Hahn. And we're going to learn about the SlowBurn methodology that he has created, as well as why strength training may be better than cardio. We'll find out about that during the next 20 minutes or so with Fred. Hey, Fred, how you doing?
I'm doing very good. How are you doing today, Mark?
Terrific. So earlier in the show, Daryl and I were both complaining about our big bellies. Okay? Maybe 30 pounds. 30 pounds on me? What do you think? No? No? I have a baby belly.
Belly.
For a 5-foot-tall gentleman, he's can't carry 30 pounds in his belly.
No, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Another short joke. If I could come up with a Broadway, something Broadway, I would absolutely do it, but I can't. Belly fat I think, is one of the biggest problems facing, Western civilization today. Would you agree with that, Fred?
Well, belly fat and specifically visceral fat. So you have two different types of belly fat. You have what's called subcutaneous belly fat, which is the fat between the muscle and skin. But worse than subcutaneous belly fat is what's called visceral belly fat, and that's the kind of belly fat that surrounds the internal organs, the liver, and many other internal organs. So that's the kind of brown fat. That's the kind of fat that is more dangerous than the subcutaneous fat between the muscle and the skin.
How do I get it out of me?
Well, the short answer to that is how you eat and specifically what you eat. So, the old saying, you are what you eat. Well, more specifically, you are what your body does with what you eat. So a lot of people say, well, a calorie is a calorie. Well, that's not necessarily true. Fat calories are different from protein calories, which are different from carbohydrate calories. Now, the way you got or someone else gets fat in the first place is not necessarily from eating too many calories. It's from eating too many calories that raise and increase insulin levels, blood sugar levels, which increase insulin levels. And the hormone insulin, one of its main jobs, is to store body fat and to keep that stored body fat locked in the fat cell. So when people eat a very large amount of refined carbohydrates like pasta and bagels, starchy carbohydrates like rice and pasta and things of that nature, breads, you're raising your blood sugar levels very high by eating those foods, which raises your insulin levels very high, which in essence is telling your body to store as much body fat as possible. Now, to lose that fat, you have to do the opposite. You have to decrease blood sugar levels, thereby decreasing circulating insulin levels, which then allows the fat cell to be open. It's almost like a key to the fat cell, low insulin levels. And then fat flows freely out of the fat cell into the bloodstream to be used as the body's primary source of fuel. So, in short, low carbohydrate, low refined carbohydrate, low sugar diets are going to be what's best to not only lose belly fat, but to lose fat globally throughout the body.
Working out, exercise, versus what you eat, which is more important? Or do they have to work in tandem?
For losing body fat, it's hands down what you eat. Diet, you cannot exercise out or beat a bad diet. In fact, exercise, if you exercise, and this is something that most people have no idea about, even a lot of professionals and personal trainers and coaches don't really realize. If you're exercising vigorously enough to burn enough energy to make a difference, most, if not all of that energy is coming from intramuscular glycogen, meaning the sugar stored in your muscles, not from the fat in your fat cells.
So you're tearing your muscles down?
No, you're just using up the energy, which is you have two different types of energy you can use for fuel. Sugar in the muscles or fat in the fat cell. So if you're exercising vigorously enough to burn enough calories, burn enough energy, almost all of those calories you're using are sugar in the muscle cells, not fat in the fat cells. So people get on a treadmill and they run at 7 miles an hour at the end of 45 minutes to an hour. They're dripping with sweat. The machine says they burned 800 calories. Well, first of all, you have to subtract the amount of calories you would have burned anyway in that hour doing nothing, which is about 100. So you really only burn 700 calories. And that 700 calories is almost completely from sugar within your muscles, not fat from within your fat cells, like the fat on your belly and the fat on your thighs, is almost remains untouched.
The last time I was on a treadmill and I ran for an hour, well, okay, I walked fast. For an hour, it said I burned 140 calories. What you're telling me is that my body normally would have burned 100 calories. And so by getting on that treadmill, I burnt 40.
40 extra calories.
40 extra.
And most of those 40 calories came from sugar in your muscles, not from the fat in your fat cells. So you basically, if your goal was to get on that treadmill to burn body fat, you wasted your time.
What about cardiovascular health? Don't you need exercise for that?
Well, cardiovascular health and cardiovascular fitness or aerobic fitness are two completely different things. If you have heart disease, clogged arteries, or some other form of CVD or CHD, intense exercise could be very, very dangerous. Exercise doesn't cure or fix cardiovascular disease, nor does it prevent it. I mean, look at famous runners like Jim Fixx, died of a heart attack at 56.
Right.
So that isn't the solution or the cure. When you exercise, and let's say you're out of shape, and you run for a bus for a block and a half and you're out of breath, and you decide, gosh darn it, I'm going to get myself fit. And now you go on the stair stepper, run on the treadmill, or whatever other aerobic exercise you do. Lo and behold, 3 months later, you can run 16 blocks and you feel like $1 million. What actually happened? Most people think that their heart and their lungs got stronger and healthier. Nope, not the case at all. What actually happens is that you increase the total amount of mitochondria within your muscle cells. Mitochondria produce ATP, and ATP is the body's source of energy, one of the body's source of energy. So the more mitochondria you have, the more mitochondria you possess, and the more mitochondria you possess, the more energy you can produce. Strength training produces increases in mitochondria. And so when you strength train properly, and mitochondria live, well, they're everywhere in your body, but they live within the myofibrils in your muscle fibers. When you strength train, you increase myofibrils. So by default, you're increasing mitochondria. So when you're strength training properly, you are essentially doing cardio. So you will increase your stamina, you'll increase your aerobic capacity, you'll increase your wind, whatever adjective you want to use, by strength training without having to do typical aerobic exercises. Most people are not aware of that. Even most trainers and professionals are not aware of that.
But isn't that a good thing to do, to spend that 6 weeks and being able to run those 16 blocks?
Yeah.
Isn't that good for the body as well as the brain?
Well, it absolutely has benefit, but it also can produce orthopedic detriment. So you don't necessarily want to improve your cardiovascular your endurance or cardiovascular capacity while at the same time pulverizing your knee and your hip joints. There's a way to do the same thing without doing that, and that is by performing a very slow and controlled twice-weekly resistance training program.
And now, which you have created called the SlowBurn Personal Training System, right?
Yeah, that is a way of strength training so that you cannot possibly be injured or hurt, while at the same time increasing muscular strength, muscle mass, aerobic capacity, endurance, flexibility, and many other health benefits that come from strength training.
Personally, I would like more flexibility. I used to be very flexible as a kid. I'm not so much now.
Well, that has a lot to do with losing strength and not eating healthfully.
And not exercising at all.
But specifically, flexibility, in a way, muscular flexibility is a bit of a misnomer. Muscles don't flex. Muscles contract and uncontract. joints flex. So when someone says flex your muscle and you make a biceps and you squeeze your biceps, you're not flexing your biceps. You're contracting your biceps and flexing your elbow joint. It's not semantics. It's actually what you're doing. When you strength train properly, you increase the strength of the muscles throughout your body, which allows you to flex your joints through a greater range of motion. When I was writing my book, we were looking at the statistics on the most flexible athletes. And the most flexible athletes in the Olympics were the gymnasts, but very close second were the weightlifters. And it's because of their muscular strength, not because they stretch. It's because of their muscular strength that allows them to move their joints. You don't want to have passive extendability, meaning you don't want loosey-goosey joints that you can just extend and tie yourself like into a pretzel. You want active contractility. A joint should only be made more flexible with a concomitant increase in muscular strength so that it's more flexible and at the same time more stable.
Our guest is Fred Hahn. He's the co-author of the SlowBurn Fitness Revolution, the author of the Strong Kids, Healthy Kids, and the owner of SlowBurn Personal Training Studios in New York and Montclair, New Jersey. And I don't know about you, Fred, but I'd like to be able to touch the heel of my foot to the top of my head. It's just something I'd love to be able to do. When we come back, we're going to find out how Fred got healthy and into this fitness revolution that he's creating. I'm Mark Alyn. This is Late Night Health. Join us at latenighthealth.com.
If you or someone you love suffers from drug addiction, now is the time to utilize your private health insurance PPO plan. If eligible, receive up to $30,000 or more in substance abuse benefits with low or no out-of-pocket cost. We are the National Treatment Network, the premier drug and alcohol treatment referral service operating 24/7. We help connect you with facilities nationwide that accepts PPO private health insurance for substance abuse. If you have PPO substance abuse coverage and you need immediate admittance to a medical detox or residential rehab treatment center, call us now. Call our live referral helpline today. The call is free. This program is not available to Medicare or Medicaid customers.
Call 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. That's 800-296-1252.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate a lower tax bill. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will fight for you using industry secrets that can stop any IRS actions, eliminate penalties and interest, and reduce your past tax bill so you pay the IRS less. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the Tax Doctor now for a free IRS audit emergency review.
800-663-5107. 800-663-5107. 800-663-5107. That's 800-663-5107.